Aaliyah Boston,
the most dominant center in the country.
there are so many stats to describe how great she is.
Sheldon with big numbers. Sheldon gets free. And my, oh my, what an impact she's having. Georgia Amor, the Australian gunner, in all her glory.
She is strong and she is dynamic. I love you all.
All the stars shine brighter in March. After last night's two-step in the Elite Eight, Iowa and LSU are in the Final Four. Who will join them tonight? #1 overall seed, South Carolina, the reigning champs, who've gotten better. What? See 41 straight wins. Can Aaliyah Boston end her prolific career by making a third straight trip to the semis? Or will it be their opponent tonight, #2 Maryland, who saw wholesale change lead to a whole lot of success? Rebuild for what? Insert Lil Jon. Hey, what's up and welcome to the studio. I'm Elle Duncan, joined as always by Monica McNutt and Nikki Fargas. Fantastic matchup, one of two for you tonight. But let's start with the team who's looking for their 42nd straight win. Oh my goodness. We all know about Aaliyah Boston and what she means to this team, but her role has changed a little bit this year. Why, Nikki?
It definitely has, because other players are stepping up. You look at the play of Zy Cook. She's improved her numbers across the board as far as her efficiency. But the play action of the bench has allowed this South Carolina team to just alter whatever game plan you come in with, because they have players like Cardoza, Amihir. They're coming in and making a huge impact for this South Carolina team. I want to give props to Bree Bill. She's one who's been identified as just this defensive stopper, right? She's going to take the best offensive player on the opposing team. The thing that she's added to her game this season has been the three ball.
Absolutely. I think that's a great call out. And not just good percentages because she's not taking many, but she's taking like 3 a game and shooting 38%. That's an excellent call out.
Also an excellent call out, Angel Gray, who joined Don Staley pregame to talk about this game.
Coach, you mentioned that playing in the Elite Eight game is one of the toughest ones as you're on the quest to another title, but your team has already done the hard work. What do you want to see carried over in order for you guys to get to your third straight Final Four?
I just want us to display the habits that we've displayed all season long. The quickest team that's able to do that, I think it puts themselves in a good position to win the basketball game.
Maryland has averaged 82 points in this tournament. You haven't allowed a team to score over 45 points in this tournament. In what ways do you guys have to apply what you've already shown on the defensive end tonight?
I think one thing we have to do is you have to make them make several passes. I know they are I wouldn't say impatient team, but they're going to take the first available shot. We got to make sure that it's a hard one. We got to make sure we're rebounding the basketball. And then before all of that, we have to get to them in transition, because they get out, they get moving, and it's to pick the litter when they get out in transition. It could be a three, it could be a direct line drive to the basket. It can be just a number of plays where they get ahead of the possession.
All right, well, thanks so much for your time. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you.
I mentioned South Carolina's 41 straight wins, the 8th longest streak all time. Each of its last 8 wins have been by double digits. The defense is as advertised. Each of their last 81 opponents have been held under their scoring average entering that game. Maybe earmuffs, Brenda Freeze?
Coach, this is your second time seeing South Carolina this season, but there's been a lot of time in between the two dates. How has your team grown and matured that gives you that confidence that they can step on the floor and are prepared for this moment?
Well, we have Diamond Miller back this time, so I'll take that. And we really have. I mean, the second game of the season with so many faces and players, and you've just seen that chemistry grow both on the offensive end as well as the defensive end.
You mentioned having Diamond Miller back, your leading scorer as well as senior. In what ways does she have to lead you tonight?
Well, just like she's done all season long, just make the right plays. And she gives us great length. So at the rim, we're going to need her rebounding and her defense. But on the offensive end, not only creating for herself, but others.
Thanks so much for your time. Good luck tonight.
Thank you so much.
There she is, Diamond Miller, the only starter that did not transfer off of last year's team. She said she was either going to have to learn a new program somewhere else, or learn it there in Maryland, and she wanted to stay. Can she get her team back to the semis for the first time since 2015? We'll see you from Greenville and see you at the half.
Tonight in Greenville, 2 teams vying for 1 spot in the Final Four. Is momentum building towards a Carolina dynasty? Or is tonight a Maryland reminder to fear the turtle? Terps and Gamecocks coming up. Welcome to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. And our doubleheader, 2 more tickets punched for the Final Four in Dallas coming your way. And we start out with South Carolina and Maryland after some thrilling matchups yesterday.
Let's go! It is time to send someone to the Final Four.
Clark has a 40-point triple-double.
The Tigers back to the Final Four.
Iowa is headed to the Final Four.
Well, it could be shaping up for a huge night for the Big Ten with Iowa already in, a chance to send 2 more teams tonight. It would be just the 3rd time in the 40-year history of this tournament that were to take place. But of course, after the spotlight was on Seattle last night, tonight the focus is on the defending national champs, undefeated South Carolina, Beth Mowins, Debbie Antonelli, Angel Gray, and Aaliyah Boston, the reigning National Player of the Year.
I mean, how much more can we say about the great player that she is and what she's done for South Carolina? She was the National Player of the Year, swept all the awards last year. She is the focal point of what they do on both sides of the ball. She can score in the paint, she can play through a double. On the defensive end, this is the best shot blocking team in the nation, maybe ever, and she is the centerpiece of all of that as she continues to lead this team as an undefeated schedule.
Tonight's player resume brought to you by Indeed, one of just 5 players to be a 4-time AP All-American and the 2-time SEC Player of the Year. Big challenge ahead, though, today for the unbeaten Gamecocks with Diamond Miller and the Maryland Terrapins.
Diamond didn't play when they met the 2nd game of the season, but they're going to need all of Diamond's skills at 6'3", long, athletic, can be creative and crafty. All those swooping shots and backdoor cuts, those aren't going to be there tonight. You're going to have to be able to create off the bounce, not over-penetrate, and use that 6'3" frame, and Diamond is capable of helping Brenda Freese's team.
And let's check in with Angel Gray.
Ladies, it's been well documented that Maryland lost 85% of their production from last year and have 9 new faces on their roster. So coming into this season, it was very important for them to build chemistry and quickly. Brenda Freese learned from her former assistant, Tina Langley, that a quick way to do that was to build chemistry on the road. They were able to go to cabins, and they had their own turf Olympics. They were able to build a sisterhood. But most importantly, they understood how vulnerability at that point in the season has helped them gel at this very critical time of the year. In a short span, they trust one another and fight for one another. And tonight, they want to show that while shocking the world in an upset win.
And they will literally be the road team tonight in their black jerseys. South Carolina not too far from their home in Columbia. Up here in Greenville in their home whites. And the Terps control the tip.
Well, you're going to need all that connectivity to be able to take down one of the top defenses ever. And this is a great clear out to start the game by Brenda Freese.
Check out tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. Big size advantage for South Carolina, led by Boston right here. And they have one of the best defenses probably in the history of the sport. And they face a Maryland starting 5 that has been one of the best scoring offenses so far in this NCAA tournament at better than 80 points per game.
I could make an argument for this being one of the best defenses we've ever seen in a women's game, and they're going to be challenged. Maryland plays 5 out, spreads the floor, will take South Carolina off the bounce, and back-to-back baskets allows them to extend their pressure.
Kiera Fletcher runs the point.
Maryland's not sitting in the paint to start the game, but they're getting out and guarding on the perimeter.
Brenda Freese told us today at shoot-around, you can either sag in and lay off their outside shooters, or we're going to play the way we've been playing all year, and that's attack and aggressive. Zia Cook off the mark. And South Carolina will keep it.
What a confident start for Maryland to be able to score off the bounce.
There's a look at Brenda Fries. Both of these teams with national championship pedigree. In fact, they are two, Brenda and Dawn Staley, of the 5 active coaches that have won a national championship. That is the short list. That is it. With Gino, Tara, and of course Kim Mulkey at Baylor, who is going back this year with LSU. Dawn Staley, the resume is as good as you will find anywhere as a player at Virginia, as an Olympic gold medalist with the United States, as a head coach here at South Carolina, again trying to join a very short list of only 4 other coaches that have won 3 national championships.
I love the discipline, the execution on defense, what she expects out of her team, and how they stay connected in this undefeated season.
Myers bothered on the shot by Boston. Their plan will try and be to beat that defensive unit back up the floor on the fast break a lot tonight.
They are helping on the backside against pressure. Aaliyah Boston going off the bounce, right to the cup.
Briggs on the run. Saxton bothers the shot.
South Carolina says, okay, you want to open up the floor, we'll play that way. They haven't played this way in a long time. They might be enjoying it.
Fletcher off the bounce, and Carolina grabs the early lead.
I think it's critical to get a quality shot because it's tough to get a rebound against South Carolina. So your first attempt has to be good.
Miller fouled on the drive.
Watch Aaliyah Boston right here. You see the pressure. Ooh, and Cheyenne Sellers goes down hard. And then Aaliyah Boston showing that she has face-up ability with a ball in her hands to go off the bounce.
Maryland wants to see a lot of this. Diamond Miller, 6th in the country in free throw attempts and makes. She misses there on the first. For the 6'3" senior out of Somerset, New Jersey. 2nd team All-American. That's 1 of 2. And of course, off the makes, Debbie, they can go full court pressure.
Right, and this is important here to try to take South Carolina a little bit deeper into the shot clock. I don't expect the Gamecocks to turn it over under this kind of pressure as Zia Cook steps out of bounds. There you see Cook stepping out of bounds.
Abby Myers directing her that way. This is the other player right here that Maryland will rely heavily upon, and that's the decision-making of Cheyenne Sellers. Missed the layup there. She was huge in the second half in their win over Notre Dame in the Sweet 16 as Miller is whistled for the reach-in.
You know, I love the strategy early on by Brenda Fries to try something else. No one has been able to beat South Carolina sitting in the paint, right? And so what Maryland is doing is playing the way they play. Score, press, pressure in the quarter court. Looking to attack off the bounce. Trying to spread out the defense of South Carolina.
Quick seat for Miller. She'll check out with 1 foul. Inside, Saxton able to scoop it up and in. Victoria, the grad student out of Rome, Georgia. They average 45 points per game in the paint, does South Carolina. Myers, one of their top shooters, misses her first 3 attempts. Stay at this end.
I'll tell you who has been impressive in the NCAA tournament has been Bree McDaniel, the freshman for Brenda Fries. At 5'11", she's given them quality minutes off the bench, and she's getting an early look at the floor tonight.
Sellers off balance on the shot. Boston probing that baseline out the other side to Cook. And she's fouled on the drive.
See, I think you can bring the pressure, but you still have to come with a little bit of a shorter closeout and not let South Carolina beat you off the bounce, because they're putting some pressure on your defense too. And Maryland can't afford to get in foul trouble. They don't have the depth. that South Carolina has, but quite frankly, nobody does.
Boy, there's a really small lineup right now on the floor. Sellers is also checked out of the game. So two of their key cogs with quick breathers. See if Carolina can take advantage.
And you can pinch from the weak side defensively and protect against the lob and force this kind of a shot right here. That's a contested two.
That's where Bree Beal has really improved this year, the outside shooting for the senior.
It just shows you when you get in the gym and work on your game.
She's also one of the 4 finalists for National Defensive Player of the Year. Gets the reach in there and knocks it loose. Beal with the step through. Gets it back. Wraps it. No. Another offensive rebound. Maryland comes away with it. McDaniel.
Got to make a smart decision here. And when Boston is back, she's going to block your shot. So don't take it in there.
Well, who do they look to here to score with Sellers and Miller out right now? Myers will scoop it up and in as they've been able to draw Boston away from the rim.
I think that's what you have to do. You have to make South Carolina spread them out on defense. They don't like to jump to the ball. They like to stay locked in with their assignments. They will switch if they need to. And so will Maryland. They'll switch also.
Boston, 10-footer, got it. Averaging a double-double against ranked teams this year for her career, averaging a double-double in the NCAA tournament.
You know, and Beth, there's a difference between ball pressure and taking a risky attempt to make a steal. And look at Abby Myers. She's saying, hey, I had 21 the last time we met.
Senior transfer from Princeton. So what do you think, Debbie, of the decision early just to settle Miller and Sellers down, perhaps, taking them out of the game?
I love it. It's a one-possession game, getting ready to be maybe a one-point game.
Masonis gets the lay-in. Fast break points for the Terps.
Good for Brenda Fries. The last thing she said to her team today at shoot-around is, are we ready? And, of course, everybody said, yeah, Coach, we're prepared. We're ready.
Saxton steps around Myers. And how about this? Maryland with a chance to take the lead back.
As long as it's a one-possession, two-possession game, why would you put Miller and Sellers back in?
Pins on, backdoor, got it. 7-0, Maryland run, and they're up a point.
What a great screen. That's that spread-out offense. That's one of the ways I think you have to take on South Carolina is spread the floor with 5 shooters on the court. And Maryland has the personnel to do that. The Terps with a 1-point lead.
Sunset in Greenville, South Carolina. And before the game, listen in to the Maryland locker room and Brenda Fries.
We don't have to beat South Carolina 5 out of 6 times. The beauty of the NCAA tournament is you only have to beat them 1 game for 40 minutes. And I'm tired of people talking about their defense and their rebounding. You know what? You're going to see what our defense and what our rebounding looks like because, again, when you are locked in for 40 minutes, possession by possession, you can't measure the size of someone's heart that we have in this locker room. We set the tone for 40 minutes, and we came here, like I said, to complete what we came here to do. Go out and show them Maryland basketball.
Zone off the timeout by Coach Fries, the first possession of that we've seen. But here's what I think you have to do to be able to beat South Carolina. You got to play them one-on-one in the post. We're watching that. You have to have 5 scorers on the floor. We see that right now. You got to be able to handle their pressure and believe you can do it. Sounds to me like Brenda Fries' team thinks they might have a chance.
Diamond Miller back into the game. And a whistle and a foul on the rebound. The second unit for South Carolina has also checked in with the 6'7" Camila Cardoso inside.
Now that's a game changer, right? Because the depth of South Carolina is one of their strengths. Length is the other.
Lavender Briggs hits the three.
So they're going to put Cardoso in all kinds of ball screen action right now and pull her away from the bucket and make her guard off screening action, dives, ball screen, and she wasn't ready to catch it. Watch this play right here. Lavender Briggs does a nice job of hitting a triple and helping extend that Maryland lead to 2 baskets. 2 possessions, really.
10 unanswered points for the Terrapins. And not from the usual sources. They've been getting good balance. Miller calls her own number. Second chance. And a whistle and a foul.
You have to be the aggressor against South Carolina. And right here, Diamond Miller, you see she's trying to get inside, and that is really pretty good verticality right there by South Carolina. And as the play is shown on the scoreboard, they don't like it in here. This is like a home game for South Carolina.
Fouls on Bree Hall. Hey, the NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight with the second game of our doubleheader, Ohio State and Virginia Tech, for that last spot in the Final Four. All building up towards the national championship next Sunday in Dallas. Not only do you have the call of the game, but you've got Burden Tarasi back again as well this year. Going to be a lot of fun in Dallas. We already know that Iowa is there. They will face the winner of this one next Friday, and LSU is there. They will face the winner of Virginia Tech, Ohio State.
Very nice job by South Carolina attacking that full court pressure of Maryland and moving the ball, switching sides of the floor.
Remy here hits on the first. What a night it was with LSU picking up a win here in Greenville. And then last night, Caitlin Clark with the 40-point triple-double to get Iowa back to the Final Four for the first time since 1993. One of the greatest performances in the 41-year history of this NCAA tournament.
I think she's been great all year. You already mentioned Tarasi when you were talking about the Bird Tarasi show. I think when you start talking about some of the greatest offensive players in the history of our game, you got to put Caitlin Clark on that list with Tarasi and Kelsey Plum and Kelsey Mitchell and Jackie Stiles, just to name a few.
Yeah, the great scorers in history. Nice dish, Cardoso from Cook and one. Oh no, they're going to wipe it off and call it an offensive foul. Yes, they are.
Look at this, Myers making another play. She gets established outside the restricted area. She obtains legal guarding position. And Zia Cook runs her over outside the arc.
So that's the first on Cook. Still no Cheyenne Sellers. She continues to sit on the sideline as Miller turns it over.
You know, they're running a lot of stuff for Diamond to her left hand as Brenda Freeze, and Diamond's a right-handed player. You know, and sometimes when you like to do that misdirection stuff and you get going left, when you have a shot blocker, you're going to have to come back to the right, and I think that's why. You want to get to your strong hand if you can.
Raven Johnson. They are making them take a lot of time off the clock. Down to the final minute of this first quarter. Winner is going to Dallas in the Final Four. Zia Cook pulls up off the mark. Cardoso trying to clean it up. Maryland clears.
Look at Cardoso run at 6'7".
That's going to be a travel on Masonis.
Well, this spread offense is built for some back doors and built to play off the bounce. And you can see Brenda Freeze how thrilled she's got to be with the way her team has played in this first quarter.
4-point Maryland lead over unbeaten South Carolina. 5 points for Diamond Miller, 6 points for Aaliyah Boston, the two star players coming in. They try to lob to Cardoso. The Briggs get a piece of that from behind. And then a foul going to be called on Cardoso.
If that's free throws. Yeah, I think Briggs did get a piece of that from behind. And this is what Maryland wants, to continue to parade to the free throw line. They are 3 for 4. This will be their 3rd trip in the first quarter.
And they are really good when they get there, Debbie. 9th best free throw percentage in the country. They are making more free throws than their opponents are attempting so far in the postseason. Masonis, who is their vocal leader, one of their captains from Belmar, New Jersey, 72% on the year.
And the other thing too, Beth, is Maryland's defense has forced 5 South Carolina turnovers, and they've scored 6 points off those. They have been generating a lot of turnovers in this tournament. 22, as a matter of fact.
Johnson takes it all the way, in and out. Offensive rebound, me here, that's blocked out of there. And that'll take care of the first half. Maryland scoring 16 of the last 20 points in the quarter. Angel with Brenda Freeze.
Welcome back to Greenville. I'm here with Maryland head coach Brenda Freeze. When you're looking at how your team was able to go on that 7-0 run without Sellers or Miller on the floor, what stood out to you?
Team defense and rebounding toughness. This is who we've been, and this is next person up.
When you're looking at just that, your defense has been the topic of conversation. 6 turnovers that you forced, and you've also scored 6 points off of them. What do you want to see more of going into the second quarter in that department?
Continuing to be aggressive, the toughness, not backing down. I love our start, but it's a 40-minute game. They come in waves, and we've just got to continue doing it one possession at a time.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Maryland went on a 12-0 run, and because they've been able to get to the paint, 5 different players have scored. They've got South Carolina's D all spread out. Look how wide open the paint is. No help D, great screening action. The offensive attention to detail has been outstanding for Maryland early on, and they are shooting 50% from the floor in the first quarter.
Brenda also mentioned the defense, Debbie. They are holding South Carolina to 33% shooting, and that includes the Gamecocks missing their last 7 shots, and they didn't have a basket in about the last 5 minutes of that first quarter.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, everybody's been sitting in the paint and forcing them not to be able to score inside.
Make them make outside shots,
yeah,
right?
make them make outside shots, and the guards have been playing horse, quite frankly. That's what they do at South Carolina. But not the way Maryland has chosen to defend them tonight. They have decided to get up the line. They have been spreading them out on defense, on offense, and they are looking to attack off the bounce and get to the free throw line.
Let's see how Cheyenne Sellers responds now. She wasn't in foul trouble in the first quarter, but she only played 3.5 minutes. She was a little amped up early. McDaniel working inside, and a foul on Boston. Her first.
Look at the acceleration by Maryland on the offensive end. Here's a dribble handoff. There's a lot of collision there, and then a little pump fake, and I do not see a foul there,
No.
and neither does Aaliyah Boston.
A lot of leather. But that'll get McDaniel to the free throw line. They average 9 blocks per game. They are on pace to set a new NCAA single-season record, the Gamecocks.
But here's the thing, too, Beth. A tight whistle will favor Maryland.
Yes.
They don't have the depth that South Carolina has, nor the length at multiple positions.
Well, McDaniel whiffs on the opportunity. And now a foul called on the rebound on Masonis. That's her first. One of the best scoring offenses in this NCAA tournament. Maryland against one of the best defenses in this tournament, as Boston already with 8 points here in the first half. Miller will go take it in and turns it over again.
That's twice that Miller has lost the handle. But Maryland's tempo is getting ahead of the South Carolina defense. And this is just a loose ball that lands in the hands of Aaliyah Boston. Tell you what, she knows how to use the glass. Maryland looking to trap.
Oh, Saxon wide open inside. Good find and the lay-in. And South Carolina's back to within a basket.
And this is when you know you're playing in the home crowd. There's a foul by, oh, excuse me, that's a foul
on the screener.
Maryland. Brenda Free says, what's the call?
And that's the second on Sellers, so a frustrating first half for her. Yeah, Brenda's like, what happened there? Chance to tie it up or take the lead back for South Carolina. Boston faces up. Johnson probes the baseline too hard. And a foul after the offensive rebound.
And there's how South Carolina wins a lot of games. 48% rebounding rate on the offensive end. They are tough to deal with. They push you under the basket with their great size and length, and they can tap the ball back or rebound with two hands and finish around the paint.
And that is the second foul on Diamond Miller. So they're Miller and Sellers sit with 2 fouls each. Yeah, the NCAA Men's Basketball Final Four is set for Saturday on CBS. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Men down in Houston, the women will be in Dallas. Myers, Boston, good help. Finds a teammate inside, and Faith Masonis is picking up the slack.
What a great cut and find and patience by Myers to deliver it.
Boston couldn't knock it down. Another offensive rebound and then stripped away by Alexander. Pinzon sees a lane. She'll take it in. No. Beal. 3-on-2. Bree Beal by herself. And a blocking foul before the shot.
This is the way Maryland is getting you spread out. Now watch the play right here. You're going to see Masonis go here, and then you're going to see Abby Myers come here, and then Boston switches. And the footwork, and then the backdoor cut. It's a very nice read. I wouldn't call it a play. It's making a play. And that's what you're going to have to do against South Carolina's defense.
Beal misses the free throw. Angel?
Yeah, ladies, Dawn Staley's plea to her huddle in the last one was attack, attack, attack. We have to make sure that we're putting pressure on them. They're playing on their heels. She said our aggression will get us to the free throw line. They've already gone 2 times in this quarter.
Maryland snagged the rebound, but then turned it over. And another substitution for the Terps because they've got another player with 2 personal fouls as Brene Alexander departs. Terps' depth will be tested here in the second quarter. Drive and a foul will get Raven Johnson to the line, the redshirt freshman from Atlanta.
Well, I think the foul trouble on that possession has caused Maryland to play some zone, but I don't think everyone communicated that they were in a zone. And you can't make a mistake like that against South Carolina.
Checking my numbers here, Debbie. Their tallest player is 6'1" for Maryland right now. Gamecocks, we've not seen the double post yet with Boston and Cardoso together.
Well, we see it with Saxton.
You see it with Saxton, yeah.
Maryland is in the zone.
Fletcher, strong to the rim, blocked. Sent back by Briggs. And the turnover in transition.
Well, there's been 3 turnovers by Maryland because they have played too quickly, right? Diamond dribbled it off her leg and out of bounds twice. And now they're trying to advance past it. Not a good place to leave Abby Myers.
3 turnovers in their last 5 possessions. Boston. Fletcher, short corner, 5 on the shot clock. Working her way into the lane. Myers has it. Pinzon leaves it for Abby. The drop off, but Boston is there to protect.
The whole side of the arena wanted travel.
All calling travel.
Tell you what, this is a passionate fan base for South Carolina, no question about it.
Briggs, mid-range.
You see, those are the things you have to do if you're Maryland. You have to get them rotating. Make South Carolina a half a pass late on a closeout. Now, to be honest with you, Beth, I think Maryland looks a little bit fatigued.
Yeah. They only have 1 basket so far in the quarter, but South Carolina's only got 2. They've been getting to the free throw line, though.
It's part of the wear down effect, though, right? I mean, and there's the post and the trying to make the lob over the top. And most times South Carolina can throw right over the top. But you see Saxon has great position. Even though Maryland is in the zone, you're trying to get pressure on the ball, but when they have vision clear to the rim and they've got great post-up ability, which South Carolina has, that is daunting to have to defend.
That's now 2 fouls on Faith Massonis. So 4 different Terps with 2 personals.
And now they just get smaller when they bring Renee Alexander on the court.
She actually comes back in with 2. Saxton. And a chance now to tie it up.
And yet remember, in the first quarter, this small lineup scored 12 consecutive points against South Carolina.
Just 50% at the free throw line for Carolina. They've made 5, but they've also missed 5. Myers off the fake. Hangs, can't get it to go.
And you see, those are the shots, the last 2 possessions where you get good offense. When you get to the rim like that for Myers, and the shot blocker, Boston's not in the vicinity. You got to finish that.
Boy, from an offensive slugfest in the first quarter to shut down defenses here in the second. Beal trying to loosen it up. Tap back out, Boston, layup. Ten points for Leah Boston to get Carolina the lead, but an injured player for Maryland. And we'll be back in a moment. There's a look at Iowa and LSU already advancing to the Final Four. And we will punch the last 2 tickets tonight. This was the injury moments ago. Bree McDaniel in a collision with Zia Cook. They have walked her all the way back to the locker room.
Looks like it's in the midsection area. You know, when you're extended like that and you get hit in the midsection, it hurts.
Myers got it.
Tell you what, Abby Myers has been aggressive off the bounce, and Brenda Free's ATOs after timeouts on the offensive end are always outstanding.
Came to Maryland for a moment like tonight after she starred in the Ivy League. Zia Cook baseline gets the lane.
See, when you're playing this zone, you've got to keep them off the baseline, and you've got to try to make sure you box out
Briggs, denied by Boston.
Look at Boston move her feet at 6'5".
Turned her away. Last year's National Player of the Year, the front runner to win it again.
Well, Brenda Free's running some good stuff right here. You're going to have to make shots if you're going to upset the #1 team in the country.
Maryland continues to play without Diamond Miller and Cheyenne Sellers, sitting on the bench with 2 personal fouls. And if that's on Brene Alexander, that's her 3rd. Let's see who they give it to.
You know, here's the thing, Beth. Like, South Carolina's quality of catch on the baseline is so deep. It's almost impossible to guard, and then when they miss it, they're right there to rebound it. That's why their offensive rebounding percentage is so high, is because they get deep position in the paint. And unless you have the same size to counter that, it's really challenging to guard.
The foul was given to Myers, so that's her 1st. They average 18 offensive rebounds per game and almost 19 second chance points per game. They have the biggest rebounding margin in Division I this year. And they're going to get another possession right here with a 2-point lead. Boston, Cook, same move, baseline, same result.
I mean, that skip and then the attack on the baseline has worked for South Carolina.
They've held Maryland to just 2 baskets so far in the quarter. Myers will try and hit it.
She is ready to catch and shoot. She has had a fantastic first half.
12 points for Abby Myers to keep them in it.
That's exactly right, without her offense right now. I would run stuff right at her defensively because I think she's getting a little fatigued.
That would be Cook, who's probed that baseline twice. Now will stay away for 3. 7 for Zaya. 3rd team All-American this year. Bree Beal down on the deck. Cook, Johnson, foul.
Do you know how excited these South Carolina fans are to see somebody actually playing them straight up and not sitting in the paint? Come on, Zaya Cook. You drive it. You set this up. And then in transition, hard foul makes South Carolina earn it at the line. Dawn Staley's over there going, it's about time somebody tried to play us straight up. I like it.
Now they got to hit their free throws. They're just 6 for 12. Angel?
Ladies, Zaya Cook has the last 7 points for South Carolina, and going back to shoot around, she was the first one on the floor getting shots up, and she was the last one on the floor getting shots up. After she hit a couple of threes, Dawn Staley turned to her and said, we gotta have it, we need it from you tonight.
Yeah, she has not been shooting real well so far in the tournament, but she's 50% here in the first half. Myers fouled, and she'll get some freebies.
Yeah, see, I think Abby Myers is a highly skilled offensive player, and you can see every time down the floor, Brenda Freese is calling her number. She's a former Ivy League Player of the Year, and she came to Maryland to play for Brenda for a moment like this. Look at her. I mean, she's just playing aggressive and letting it go, right? Just play free.
This is on the first. They've won 15 of their last 17 games coming in, as you see what Myers is doing for them tonight. Their only 2 losses were to Iowa, a Final Four team. And trying to hang with South Carolina here in the first half with their 2 star players in foul trouble. Final 2 minutes. Boston already with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists here in the first half for Aaliyah.
It's just what she does. It's a quiet stat line, right? It's so solid.
Cook. And a foul trying to box out Boston. I think they're going to get Myers for that one. That's 2 on Abby.
They just have to hang to the half, right? So they can get their second wind and get Miller and Sellers back on the floor. Now this is a really critical minute 25 here, because what Maryland's going to do is get probably 3 possessions here. They're going to need to score.
Aaliyah Boston, 6th all-time at South Carolina in scoring. She is their all-time leading rebounder. 2nd to Asia Wilson in block shots. And this special senior class trying to win a 2nd national championship if they can get to Dallas next weekend. They've scored the last 7.
Look at Boston pulled way away from the bucket here. Look how open the lane is for Maryland.
They'll try and drive it. Myers offensive rebound. Blocked by Beal. Second chance, no. Carolina's got it. And a chance to go up double digits.
2-for-1 opportunity here for South Carolina if they can score quickly. Oh, Pinzan almost had that.
Beal back to Cook. Takes the contact and uses the window.
She's on fire right now. Zaya Cook wants the basketball.
9-0 run.
I thought she got away with a little push-off, too.
On the shot clock. Myers gets inside, wraps and scores. Cook, good if it goes. Big first half by Abby Myers to keep Maryland close. And the combo of Cook and Aaliyah Boston getting South Carolina the 8-point lead at halftime. And let's get it over to Angel with Zaya Cook.
Zaya, you guys outscored them 23-9 in that second quarter. What was the biggest adjustment for you guys?
I think just getting downhill drives, and then just trying to stop their guards as well. Just be patient.
I think you took that deep breath because you had all 9 of your points in that second quarter. What was Dawn's message to you and that level of aggression we saw?
Just telling me to play my game and stay confident. Anytime I saw the look to drive, I just took it.
All right, thank you.
38-30 at the break for a spot in the Final Four. South Carolina over Maryland as we send it back to the studio in L. "20 minutes away from a spot in the Final Four, and right now, undefeated South Carolina has the lead over the Maryland Terrapins. Beth Mowens, Debbie Antonelli, Angel Gray, and Debbie, it's time to check out our game changers for tonight, brought to you by Under Armour.
Well, let's start with Zaya Cook. Come on now, she's off the bounce. She's attacking the zone or their man, whatever defense. It hasn't been able to contain Zaya Cook, and she sets up her three-point shooting ability because she's been able to drive it hard to the rim. She can handle contact on that drive too, Beth. And then on the other side, look, Abby Myers has been the offense for Maryland. 14 first half points on 12 shots, and nothing comes easy against the South Carolina defense. But she's going to need a little help here in the second half now that Diamond Miller and Cheyenne Sellers are back on the floor.
Miller and Sellers played a grand total of 1 minute in the second quarter when South Carolina outscored the Terps 23-9. The defending national champions on a quest to get back to defend it and win a third in the last 6 years under Dawn Staley. The winner of this one to face Iowa. Coming up next, the last of our Elite Eight games, Ohio State and Virginia Tech. Hokies, the #1 seed, trying to get to the Final Four for the first time, and Diamond Miller gets the quick bucket here in the third.
How about Maryland's team speed? I mean, look at the trap, too, off the made basket. They got to get it over the court, and it did not touch someone on the other side, so it's a backcourt violation. A 10-second count. Right here, Dawn Staley, not a surprise, trying to get Cook going again. And then look at the speed of Miller up the floor, ahead of the basketball and ahead of the South Carolina defense.
Here goes Miller again. And turns it over. Angel?
Yes, well, speaking to Brenda Freeze at halftime, I was asking her what was the difference in the second quarter. She said, well, I told you they come in waves, and we felt it in that second quarter. They were more aggressive. They put themselves at the free throw line. She said there was no Cheyenne and Diamond, so they have to play better together while being aggressive. She did say Abby Myers is a dog. She's fearless and aggressive. She needs help in this third quarter.
Beal had it stripped loose. Myers has it. Sellers running with pins on, and Cheyenne will pull up hard off the back iron, and a rebound #6 for Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah, it's the right decision, but you got to make that. You can't over-penetrate, even in transition. And there's that deep catch we were talking about, Saxon.
Rebounds her own missed, leaves it off for Boston. Scoots it up over the front of the rim. $14 points for Aaliyah on 6 of 8 shooting. Miller spins, scoops it up, no. Boston gets the block. Chance to get it back into double digits here for South Carolina. Boston to the left side, got it, 16 now for Aaliyah Boston, and it's back up to a 10-point lead.
She's so talented at 6'5", can do what a lot of 6'5s cannot in the women's game. In college, anyway, it's impressive. A 10-point lead for the Gamecocks.
(42-32), South Carolina with the lead over Maryland. Early in the third quarter, Aaliyah Boston getting the job done at both ends.
I mean, this is what she does, right? She blocks shots into their transition game. That might have been a foul, actually, but anyway, she gets recorded for a block, and here's how her blocks occur to help her team, right? This is a great weapon. 45% of the shots she blocks into their transition game, 41% she blocks out of bounds. They set their defense, and 14% the opponent keeps. It's an incredible weapon. It helps their ball pressure, great trust on the backside, and they have 6 blocks, Beth, from 4 different people.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons why you talk about one of the great defenses we've seen in the college game. They're holding opponents to 50 points. The field goal percentage defense is #1 in the country, and so are the block shots. Diamond Miller able to score inside. They're holding opponents to about 20 points under their average every time out, and only 5 of the 35 teams they've played have finished the game within 10 points. So they haven't had many close calls. Maryland almost had it and then lost it out of bounds. There you go. Opponents held well below their average. I mean, they're beating teams. Their scoring margin this year is 30. Boston, nice step through. She's having her best game so far in the tournament statistically. 18 points now, 7 boards.
I mean, this is just a great play to get her the ball in the middle on a lob. And then her great footwork to step through. And then again, ATO's situational offense. This is one of Maryland's strengths, even against one of the best defenses.
So Miller has gotten into the lane back-to-back trips. There's Fletcher.
Ooh, she carried it.
Boston, Sellers on her defensively. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Saxton. Miller came over to help. Taken away by Zia Cook and lays it up and in.
There's no question it's a physical game.
11 now for Cook. Offensive foul going to be called on Maryland, setting the screen.
Right there, I thought Saxton took some contact. And then Saxton stays with the play, and Zia Cook finishes it off.
That's the 3rd personal foul on Faith Masonis. She will come out. Lavender Briggs comes on. She's the first of the Terps with 3. They have 4 others with 2 that they all picked up in the first half.
You got to play through. You got to be strong. You got to, and right there, Fletcher just goes at the outside hip of Abby Myers to draw the foul.
And that's now the 3rd on Myers.
She's been their best offensive player. They cannot have her on the bench. I think Brenda Fries might even have to consider some defensive substitutions to give her a break.
Yeah, she's trying to defend Boston right now. And did she just pick up a 4th? Oh my goodness, she did.
Oh boy. I mean,
wow.
That you have to have the right angle to see through that. And the official was behind the play.
So Myers, who was their leading scorer with 14 in the first half, is out. Foul troubles in both halves for Maryland tonight. And now they're starting to add up. That's the 3rd on Sellers.
Yeah, this is really dangerous here for Brenda Fries now. When she had the foul trouble before, they went to zone. I think they're going to have to go back to zone. Well, maybe she's going for zone right here, calling for 2. 2-3 is what I'm guessing.
South Carolina trying to grab its largest lead of the night.
I mean, South Carolina has been impressive the way they've moved the ball, right? I mean,
Boston flashes high, pitches it out to Cook. Baseline drive, and the short corner is good. And a dozen points is as big as it has been tonight. Miller off the bounce, fouled by Beal. That's 2 on Bree.
Boy, Diamond Miller likes to go left. I mean, that's one of her tendencies. And she's trying to get all the way to the rim.
She's got all 7 of their points here in the 3rd quarter. Hey, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi are back, and they're headed to Dallas for the Final Four with the Bird and Taurasi Show. Friday and Sunday, live on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
I hope Diana and Sue will weigh in on the great offensive players in the history of our game. Do you think Diana will talk about herself that way? I mean, she should. Maybe Sue will help her out.
Sue's always good for an assist, you know.
That's true.
Former teammates at Connecticut and some of the great teams in the history of this tournament. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Oh my goodness, Leah Boston for 3, doesn't go. Under 5 to play here in the 3rd. South Carolina, double-digit lead, trying to stay unbeaten and punch a ticket to Dallas.
Yeah, and for Virginia Tech, they are winners of 14 in a row. The next hottest team behind South Carolina, Elizabeth Kidley, the back-to-back ACC Player of the Year. They got to play their tempo and not turn it over in a live situation. Ohio State forcing a lot of turnovers, including 25 against UConn. And for the Buckeyes, they got to defend the 3. Georgia Amore, the point guard for Virginia Tech, has made 16 triples in this tournament. and they got to play free. I mean, they play 94-50. It is an all-out team effort, all five up the line, aggressive, looking to trap and run and steal and run and jump and shoot the three. It's going to be an exciting game. Can't wait. We're going to hustle out of here, all right, so we can go.
Will it be a couple of SEC teams at the Final Four? Or there's still a possibility it could be 3 Big Ten schools at the Final Four. Iowa and LSU already there. And the scoop up and in for the Terrapins.
Again, ATO percentage really good for Maryland. And Beth, 3 Big Ten teams in the Elite Eight. That's the most ever.
They only have the one national championship, of course. Carolyn Peck and Purdue with Yukari Figs and Stephanie White leading that backcourt.
Wade Trophy winner.
Aaliyah Boston. It's happened twice in 40 years that a conference has 3 schools. The ACC in 2006 with Maryland, and then the Big East in 2013 as Miller scores inside. So here come the Terps out of the timeout. A couple of quick buckets.
Down to a 2-possession game. They're scoring quickly before that South Carolina defense can get organized. I mean, Diamond Miller really runs the floor hard. Remember that foul trouble in the first half.
6-0 run.
She only played 7 minutes.
Raven Johnson hits the 3. 7 for Raven. Sellers steps through, left hand, hard off the glass.
Raven Johnson, less than 20% three-point shooter.
Zaya Cook short. It will stay with South Carolina.
That's a big bucket for a freshman. And I really like the point guard, Raven Johnson, when she comes on the floor. I think she changes the tempo. And you know, Beth, you hear me say this all the time. You can't play the game the same way. You have to change the rhythm of the game at some point inside the game.
Cardoso and 1. And that was too easy.
I mean, she just stepped right in front of the inbounder. I would say you can't lose 6-7, but this would be hard to do right here.
And that's the 3rd on Diamond Miller.
Wow.
She only played the 3 minutes in the first half. Getting a little more time here in the 3rd. Miller off the miss. It's really, in a lot of ways, Debbie, a race to the 4th quarter, isn't it? Because then if you're Maryland, see what happens if you can put a little pressure on the undefeated team. Playing in front of their home fans. Alexander for 3.
Great timing on the flare. Good acceleration to get your feet set. Beautiful.
Cook back to Raven. They'll make her prove it again. And
got to play a little zone here.
Yep, settle in. Foul trouble an issue for Maryland. So we've seen the zone here tonight. He's swinging around to Cook in the corner. Got it. Triple Zaya Cook. 16 for her.
South Carolina only makes less than 5 triples a game. They don't shoot the 3 a lot. Watch this flare right here. And then you're going to see the pass come from over here back out to Alexander, and Beal late on the closeout. And then Cook got to have great footwork in the corner. Only 17 panels over there between the sideline and the three-point line.
Well, and it's just second nature, Debbie, for especially the 3 big guns for South Carolina. Cook, Beal, and Boston. This is their 135th start together at South Carolina. Already with 1 national championship. Remember, they were one of the favorites with Oregon in 2020 when the tournament got canceled. They could have had a second, and now working on another one here this year.
Well, and it was a late game of Stanford in the bubble that year that South Carolina missed a couple of shots. Similar to that.
Yeah, those are the ones that Maryland has to knock down to hang around. Johnson all the way. Cardoso gets him another look. Looking to extend their largest lead after Maryland took a run at them. Final 2 minutes of the 3rd. Cardoso got it.
I mean, 6'7", what are you going to do about that, right? Not many can do anything about that.
Tough to match up with the two posts in there together at 6'5" and 6'7", on their feet in Greenville.
A 7-0 run for the Gamecocks. A good isolation. Cardoso steps through. You know, right before that play, Beth, Raven Johnson was calling something, and Dawn Stanley was calling something else. Which point guard do you think you're going to listen to over there if you're on the team in front of Dawn Stanley's bench, right? It's pretty good.
Well, we were kidding with Dawn the other day that she's a post player at heart. And when you've got the kind of size that they do, these are all the best numbers in NCAA play this year. They're scoring defense, field goal percentage defense, blocks per game, and the rebound margin of +20. All the best numbers. This front line is just a handful and more.
And there's never been a stat line like that in the history of our game. That is the best defensive stat line we have seen.
Can Maryland respond, or it's going to get away from them? Miller looking. Briggs, 15-footer.
Good composure by Maryland. Coach Daly, one of the all-time great point guards, calling the same set, just isolating Cardoso.
Oh, that time that was Cook that tipped it a couple of times to keep it alive. Guards are getting on the glass too. It is a +14 rebound margin tonight. Bree Hall on the drive. 19 second chance points for Carolina. Miller for three. One and done. And it's taken away. Final seconds of this third quarter. Sellers the kick out. Briggs triple is good. Chance for a final shot for Carolina.
Zai Cook's not aware of the time.
Now she looks. She'll launch. 62-50. The lead is a dozen for South Carolina. 10 minutes away for a spot in the Final Four in Dallas.
Welcome back to Greenville. I'm here with the South Carolina head coach, Dawn Staley. You were visibly upset just about the turnover situation in the last play. How do you clean that up?
I mean, we had the ball the last possession of the third quarter. We come back and give up an uncontested three. It's just a 5-point swing, and we can't afford it.
But as far as how your team has been able to play connected offensively, you have 5 assists on 10 made field goals. Zia Cook has put runs on for herself. What have you seen in her impact?
Cookie's got to cook. She's got to get shots at.
Cookie's got to cook. And not only does Cookie got to cook, but they have been pounding away on the glass. 19 offensive rebounds, 19 second chance points.
I mean, I think most teams do a pretty good job on that first shot around the rim. It's the second one that really hurts you with South Carolina, and it's that wear down effect over the course of 40 minutes with that relentless wave of size and length that just keeps coming at you, especially on the glass, as you see by this graphic here, with 19 offensive rebounds and 19 second chance points.
Cook with 18 points, 6 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston, 18 points, 7 rebounds. For Maryland, Diamond Miller with 15. Abby Myers with 14. She sat much of that third quarter with 4 personal fouls. She will start the fourth quarter.
Well, Abby Myers did not score in the third quarter, and she was all the offense in the first half for Maryland.
Winner of this one, off to Dallas and a date with Iowa on Friday night in the national semifinals. And the scoop up and in, Sellers gets the first bucket for Maryland.
Look at the push by Raven Johnson up the floor.
South Carolina has led by as many as 15 tonight. Boston.
Look at Masonis trying to close that space.
Bree Hall, short. There's Cardoso. I mean, they continue to rebound almost half of their missed shots, as they have done all season. Sellers, back-to-back buckets for Cheyenne.
Good execution again. You know, spreading out that South Carolina defense and being able to score one-on-one.
Bree Beal gets to the rim. Trading baskets here early to start the fourth. Miller, a little too much on it, and Cardoso able to tip it back to Boston. Good combo by the big girls.
Look at Cardoso pick up some speed up the floor. She really sprints. I mean, for big girls, the first 3 steps have got to be dig, dig, dig. She gets into that transition game to stretch the D.
Hall for 3.
For 11 from the three-point line.
Sellers and 1.
Bree Hall has just made her 20th triple of the season. Wide open. And then the attack off the bounce. That's 3 baskets here in the fourth quarter for Sellers. And you know, Maryland's running good stuff, right? With a 2 big lineup, they've got the bigs pulled away from the bucket. We know that South Carolina will switch, and Sellers has size against the guards of South Carolina on the floor. Especially Raven Johnson in that matchup.
3-quarter court pressure off the make. Sellers has all 7 of Maryland's points here in the fourth. And now they got to work on some stops. South Carolina's been matching them.
They're really pressuring the bigs on the top of the floor.
The lob, Boston to Cardoso, post to post.
There's that high-low game, Beth. They're so good at it. They just throw over the top. They make it look easy.
Briggs. Masonis. Boston able to wrangle it out of there. Beal. And a blocking foul. Is that on Myers? She's done.
Was she outside the restricted area? Because this play starts outside the lower defensive box. Oh my goodness.
Wow, she was camped there.
Okay. That's a tough way to pick up your 5th foul. She was outside the restricted area. She had established and obtained legal guarding position. That's a tough one.
And that's number 5. So Abby Myers is out of the ball game. And Beal to the free throw line.
What a tremendous first half. I mean, Abby Myers kept them in the game in the first half with her 14 first half points.
Beal gets 1 of 2. She's got 8 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Sellers. And she'll go to the line. That'll be the second on Hall.
Well, we're getting a warning right now issued to both the captains. Jenna Cross is telling Diamond Miller and Aaliyah Boston that they've had enough. So if there's a lot of chatter amongst both teams, you go right to the captains and you tell them, okay, we're not going to take any more of it. And I think that's what the official has just done.
NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight with the last of our elite matchups in the Elite 8. Virginia Tech and Ohio State. Every game continues on the ESPN networks. For more information, go to NCAA.com for your home for all 90 championships. 2 spots last night go to LSU and Iowa. 2 more tonight. South Carolina's got a beat on it, less than 7 minutes away, unless Maryland can change things rapidly. And a timeout called by Dawn Staley. 6:48 to go here in the 4th. First of all, congratulations to some new blood getting this deep into the tournament and advancing to the Final Four. It speaks to the parity of the game, as you see Georgia Amor coming up next. But also, it speaks to those blue bloods. This is the first time since 1985 that there's no UConn, Tennessee, and Stanford in the Elite Eight. So a shout out to those programs for the sustained success that they have had. To UConn for 14 years in a row going to the Final Four. And those streaks come to an end this year. That incredible job that those coaching staffs and student athletes have done over the last 30 seasons. Remarkable as we look to usher in some new teams this year fighting for the national championship, which belongs right now to South Carolina, the defending champs, trying to get back to the Final Four again.
South Carolina is shooting 50% from the three-point line. They are 6 for 12.
They held Maryland to 9 points in the second quarter. They're holding them to single digits so far here in the 4th. Johnson, the lob inside Cardoso. Boston to clean it up. And Aaliyah Boston with her 82nd career double-double. Now 20 points, 10 rebounds. Miller scoops it up and in.
She likes to go left.
Trying to extend her career in College Park. Johnson tried to wrap it. Cardoso wasn't ready for it.
Watch Bree Beal. Locates, gets her feet under her shoulders, and has improved her three-point percentage in her senior campaign.
Miller to the rim.
Right through the heart of South Carolina's defense. Dawn Staley's not going to like the look of that on film tomorrow. But I think that's the formula right there, Beth. I mean, if anyone has a chance, you have to be able to play in this spread offense.
And you've got to be ready for the physicality. You've got to be ready to keep your best players on the floor. The foul situation plagued Miller and Sellers in the first half, Abby Myers in the second half. They have not had their core together for many minutes tonight.
And it is exactly what Brenda Fries told Angel Gray. It comes in waves. It's another player off the bench. It's the next one up. And it's relentless for 40 minutes.
Boston, good. 22 for Boston.
Setting up her left hand.
Lost it. Beal on the run. And a foul.
Bree Beal, tremendous defensive play right here. Gonna earn it at the free throw line.
And that is the 5th personal foul on Faith Masonis. She becomes the 2nd Terp to foul out. The senior who has overcome an ACL injury. Instrumental in developing the team chemistry after they lost 5 of their top 6 players from a year ago. brought in a couple of transfers, and she was critical in getting them together quickly. As Aaliyah Boston checks out for South Carolina, is her day done? 22 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, a couple of blocks. And now everybody in the arena, Debbie, everybody watching at home, wondering if we're just over 4 minutes away from the matchup that so many college basketball fans have been dreaming of all year long. Perhaps the greatest defense ever, with reigning National Player of the Year, Aaliyah Boston, against one of the greatest offensive players the game has ever produced in Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes in the national semifinals.
I'm just telling you right now, it will be, should South Carolina finish this off, the highest rating in the history of the women's game. This will be the game that everyone has talked about, has anticipated, and has wondered, I wonder if, I can't wait. I had a chance to talk to Lisa Bluter and Caitlin Clark today, actually, as they were preparing to travel from Seattle to Dallas, and they were still pretty excited about their win last night. And you know they'll be ready. They'll be ready, and you know there's incredible confidence on the side of Iowa. And Monica Sonano, get some sleep, because you're going to need it.
Got a whistle and a foul. Well, for South Carolina fans who are watching, what do you have to do to take down the Hawkeyes, Debbie?
Now, this is what I think you have to do. You have to tack inside out. You have to limit Caitlin Clark's vision. She's such a great scorer. You have to take something away. You can't let her slice up the court. Stay physical on the glass with them, and then bring some mental toughness, because they're not going to go away. They can make a run, and they can make a counterpunch, because they have 5 players on the floor that can score. The offense that they're going against, South Carolina going against tonight, will be very similar to what they'll see when they play Iowa.
Can Maryland spoil that party? 3 minutes remaining. Beal takes it inside and one.
I think did we just have a technical foul?
A technical on
Diamond. If that is on Diamond, that counts as a personal foul. Let's see, did they call a technical foul? Because
I thought that was the initial.
That's what I thought.
Call, but now the officials are getting together. Offsetting.
Which means you go to the, they're of equal gravity, so they cancel out. And you go back to the point of interruption, which is Beal at the free throw line. Brenda Free's looking for an explanation.
Bree Beal tonight, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Talking about filling up that stat sheet.
Well, that's right side of the box score stat line. And that's the kind of player she has been for Dawn Staley. Each one of these young women have sacrificed a little bit of their own numbers or celebrity for the greater good for the team. And that's part of the reason why they've been able to stay so connected, so competitive, and undefeated to this point.
Bree Beal may be getting to know Caitlin Clark a little bit
I think
at
so.
the Final Four as one of the national finalists for Defensive Player of the Year.
It's a good thing Caitlin doesn't chew gum while she plays. She might know what flavor she's chewing.
Beal gets another rebound and a foul. It was Dentine, coach. It's great for the game because you know both fan bases are going to be yapping at one another all week long on social media. Our side's better. No, wait, our side's better.
Well,
Bird and Taurasi going to be chiming in at it at the Final Four.
It's what we crave, right? It's what we've wanted. Defense versus offense.
When we talk about this senior class and the legacy that they have put together, the 5 of them, 4 that we've seen in the game, and Olivia Thompson. I mean, you talk about the all-time great classes in the college game. This one could stack up if they get a second national championship with the likes of Shamiqua Holsclaw at Tennessee and Tarasi and Maya Moore and Brianna Stewart, those classes and the numbers they put up at UConn. This senior class doing something special. Beal out with a season-high 16 points tonight.
How about the job Brenda Fries has done? 85% of their scoring from last year gone. Did a tremendous job being competitive in a really good Big Ten all season. Look at Cook crossing up 6'7".
Freshman from Clinton, Maryland. Setting herself up for next year.
It's one of her better coaching jobs, quite honestly, and she's had a bunch of them. She's always recruited well, and the portal has been good to them as also. And yeah, you talk about the South Carolina class. There's a pretty good freshman class coming in next year for Dawn Staley again.
They might have to Cook.
But they'll be a little different next year, you know, when Malaysia Full-Wiley, excuse me. She is a good offensive player. From South Carolina.
Steps back, hits it. Diamond Miller likely to be a very high pick in the WNBA draft.
Yeah, no question about it. A lot of conversation about Boston and Miller.
Miller gets the block there. Cook took it right away and then has it blocked. Final minute and a half. And South Carolina will set a new school record with their 36th win of the season. And a timeout here just to make some substitutions. And our Capital One rewarding performance. Aaliyah Boston with a double-double tonight. She's able to finish it up, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Really set the tone. She was 10 of 14, so efficient. As Diamond Miller will check out as well here for Maryland. "24 points for her tonight, gave it her all. And we are into the final minute. And we are just about set to get you out to Seattle for our last Elite 8 game. Still to come, Virginia Tech and The Ohio State University. Olivia Thompson trying to put a capper for these seniors in their final game together in the state of South Carolina.
Ohio State hasn't been to the Final Four since 1993 when freshman Katie Smith, the All-American, took them all the way to the title game. And Cheryl Swoops had 47 in that one to win it for Texas Tech.
Elisa Pinzan, the grad student from Italy, departs. And a hug from Coach Freeze. And a 10-second violation against Maryland. So get ready. Friday night, South Carolina and Iowa in the national semifinals. Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Congratulations to both these teams for the great seasons they've had, and congratulations, South Carolina. Moving on.
The defending national champions, South Carolina, stays unbeaten with a school record 36th win. And they are back in the Final Four. 86-75, the final. South Carolina over Maryland. And the overall top seed is headed to Dallas.
Their defense is the cornerstone. They got tested in the first quarter because Maryland played them straight up, didn't sit on them all in that paint. And South Carolina got the ball a little bit here tonight. And they showed their strength with their depth and their ability to score. It's not just all D, Beth, that we talk about the D because it's so daunting, but they're certainly capable because they rebounded so well, and tonight they shot the three well. And if they can shoot the three well in the Final Four, they're going to be even more challenging to knock out. What an impressive season they had to go undefeated. It's not easy to do.
22 for Boston, 18 for Cook, 16 for Bree Beal. The three players in double figures tonight for South Carolina. As we get it over to Angel Gray.
It's so funny because Aaliyah Boston, you're going to your third straight Final Four. You said Texas is my place. I like Dallas. How do you feel going to your third straight?
I'm super excited. I mean, only God. All my credit goes to him. I mean, the coaches did a great job on scout. We're going to Final Four.
And how awesome is it that you have this senior in Zion Cook, who definitely in the third quarter put this team on her back?
Zion's a killer, you know, and that's what she does. She scores, she defends, she does everything. Look at her. She wants to go Dallas. Hey!
It is called the big dance for a reason. You're showing us a couple of your moves, but as far as how Dawn has challenged you for this very moment, how gratifying is it that you can go to yet another Final Four with this crew?
It feels good. We work extremely hard, and I think we deserve this. And we're not done yet. We're going to continue to do what we do, and we're going to Dallas.
This is the most wins in the season in program history. Not only do you remain perfect, but you continue to make history with this program. As a freshie, how does that feel for you?
It feels good. It's a legendary program, but Coach Bailey was a legend before we got here, so we're thankful to be a part of her program.
You will see Iowa in Dallas. I know that's a matchup that everyone wants to see. Any take on that?
I'm about to enjoy this moment, and I'll get back with you. That's cool?
I'm going to hold you to it. Thanks so much, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
South Carolina moving on to the Final Four in Dallas as we get you back to the studio now, NL.